matchups in Marin's favor and put him in a position to just bypass so much of the crowd control and eliminate carries from the get-go.
Yeah, and you were talking about that's the recent strategy of Afreeca. Just get Marin ahead and fed, protect him, whatever you got to do. He definitely has been the star player for Afreeca for a while. Sometimes he falls off, decides to play AP Cannon, and it goes totally wrong for a couple of weeks. But then he comes back and he plays his Renekton and totally crushes face, nearly always wins his lane. It's pretty ridiculous when you look at the stats. So playing around Marin is definitely an obvious choice for Afreeca. Let's hope they do it here. He's going to be on the Jarvan, of course. Orianna picked up for Tempt on the side of BBQ.
Just going with the safest mid laner he can come up with. You can expect Kuro to go with Kassadin or Corki, and so taking the Orianna right away is going to have a decent matchup into both of those, so he's going to be able to just synergize well with the composition. You've got your late game carry in the Tristana. Unfortunately, it's not your Cog, it's not your Twitch, or even your Caitlyn, so he's going to have to rely on the Tristana instead, that we have seen be played sub-optimally, so we're hoping to see if Ghost can make that pick work, and there it is. It's going to be the Corki from Kuro. Just super simple. You synergize well with Braum having the shield to protect you, as opposed to a Kassadin that can be vulnerable when it comes down to BBQ sieging into the mid lane. You need wave clear here. They go for it, and both teams have solid compositions.
Yeah, I like the compositions here because although they're solid, they're also very fun to watch because there's tons of setup for Orianna on the side of BBQ. You have lots of stuns on the side. I mean, you go the Alistar rather jumps in. You can have him as a ball carrier, get it going there with the shockwave, and also on the side of Afreeca. I mean, we all saw the crazy GIF with a ton of knockups. Of course, Galio was in that game, but it also included Gragas and it also included Jarvan, and adding in a Braum into the mix is just going to make it another fun bouncy house potentially for the Afreeca Freaks up against BBQ. So it should be a fun game one to start.
Absolutely. Both have a ton of damage on both sides. There's CC to spare as well to set up for kills. So vision early on is going to have to be looked at through a microscope here. Whichever team can get some vision ahead can surprise the opponent with a good jungle path, can start making a difference. You get your jungler ahead. Bobby's on Elise. If she pops up, can spell disaster. But Spirit, he's also gotten Mobies on Gragas if he gets ahead and has been able to make it work. So both these teams are capable of snowballing, and so much of it is going to fall on the shoulders of the junglers early on. But I have to put more emphasis onto Bless, as he is playing the jungler that gets outscaled.
We'll see what he could do on that Elise. We've seen tons of crazy Elise games on Blue's side out of teams from the top to the bottom. Ever8, Samsung, they've all done it. So let's see what they can actually do going into this one. Going to use the SKT skin for his Elise, funnily enough, after they got O2'd by Jinner. We'll see if he can reverse the curse for that skin at least, jumping into game number one. Here we go, game number one, BBQ Olivers versus the Afreeca Freaks.
Bless can aim for making plays topside quite a bit. Crazy has lots of opportunities to get both Marin and himself low enough that you can almost certainly draw the attention of Spirit to make it to that top side of the map. So I expect him to be jungling from red to the top side as opposed to starting at blue buff, and it's going to be up to Afreeca to not get hit by a minute 3 gank that is so common that you can expect it. Instead, the defensive ward from Spirit tells us that he's starting top side, and instead we'll be routing out to bottom. So if the map does get split, as the vision indicates, so much of it is going to fall on Marin being able to play defensively to not give up any kills, and so far we just have both these teams making it known as to where they are starting. They want to contest the Raptor camp, and while they are unable to deny any, they at least are aware of the route that Bless is going to take.
It's always funny to see these teams try to go in there and snipe just one Raptor to help them out. That red almost leashed. Got to be careful about that.
That was a bit of a weak start. The leash on the dual lane on the red buff got so far back that Bless opted out to go straight to the red buff instead of finishing the smaller camp to hit level 2 and guarantee it, and that means he's going to have to use his smite on that camp and might not be as ahead as he would have initially been through all the help that his allies got him, as now you see Spirit making his way onto the second camp already, and Bless is just about to arrive.
Yeah, Bless going to mix it up a little bit, goes for the blue. Definitely has some options open. You can see already Marin's taking a little bit of damage at level 1. Crazy hit level 2 first. So definitely happy to take that trade. He's just going to be fine with that potion healing on up. And Bless isn't going to get on the map all too fast. He actually goes for the Gromp first.
He's going to be playing the top side slowly, trying to figure out where his Spirit is. Control of Scuttlecrab has to come next, absolutely. And then get some vision around that area, because you see how aggressive Crazy is playing right now. And in this matchup against a melee, Jace can always dictate when he goes in. Anytime that Marin steps up to last hit with an auto attack, you can always just use your Do the Skies, get in there, get some minion damage, and you might almost win the trade if the minion aggro is not favoring Marin tremendously. And so that opens up a big opportunity in the top set, and Marin is respecting it, and he's respecting it so much so that he's currently 11 to 20 CS.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a wave pushing in, but definitely tons of respect coming out of him. But look at this route here from Bless. There's no ward over here. There's one in the tri-brush, but Kramer, he's just going to face check it. That should be an easy pickup for first blood. Who are they going to give this one over to is really the question. They'll give it to Bless.
They had no idea that route was coming. If you see the path that Bless took, he has not based yet. He found the way to sneak back onto the bottom side. They were expecting the top side river for Elise to be controlling that map. Instead, she reroutes bottom, and the vision is only at the try. They didn't have any idea what was going on in the river because Spirit got too low from his own jungle route, so instead couldn't control the Scuttlecrab earlier. Elise seized the opportunity, and Afrika had no idea it was coming. They were going for defensive vision, and instead are met with an Elise face check, an Elise right there, and first blood going off to her.
See good communication too by, I assume it was Bless. Lots of pings going down to try to spot exactly where Spirit could be on the map. And one was at the top Scuttlecrab, one was in the bush. And immediately after that, Crazy backed off and put down a couple of wards. So now he's very safe. But good communication. Yeah,
here it comes again. Hammers is trying to go for a deep vision, at least in the corner of the brush. So gets too close, and as soon as the Cocoon connects, he is dead. At least Tristana is one of those champions that can make it not obvious that there's somebody there as she carefully approaches the brush and instead can just use the rocket jump to secure herself, being in range to follow it up, whereas champions like, say, an Ashe or maybe a Varus, maybe even Callista could not be able of following up on that, or at least without giving it away.
Yeah, the Tristana Alistair composition, the duo down in the bot, seen a lot of play in the history of League of Legends, and we see it again today. It's made its way back as Tristana has become more popular, as teams began to realize, hey, having a ton of range is pretty damn good, as Caitlyn got super strong.
And while the champions are slightly different now, the strength that has made this duo of Tristana Alistar so viable throughout the years is the utility that they can bring. It's a relatively safe lane. You can always survive just getting your heals in. And wait a minute, hold that thought though. Marin's quite low. He's gonna get himself dove here. Oh, he's so dead.
He's staying. I mean, he's gonna wait for this wave, and as you said, should be an easy follow-up. Not gonna get the ward, and actually the Cocoon is gonna miss. He's gonna try to combo, but an easy repel from Bless, waiting for that combo, and there it is, another kill.
That was great. Okay, even though the Q missed and the Cocoon were not connecting, he waited for the flag and drag backwards and then repels out of it to ensure himself that not only can he follow through if Marin were to flash immediately, that he dodges out the knockup, dodges out any turret shots that might have come at the same time, and now that's a 37 CS Jarvan to a 56 Jace, who on top of it all has gone the Cole, but so has Marin, and he's no stranger to being greedy to try to salvage a situation, but this is just going to open him up even more to dying in this lane.
Yeah, at least he didn't burn his flash. He didn't go crazy. He knew that he was kind of dead the second he saw Elise, so he did his best to get out of there without his flash. We'll have that available for the next gank that does come around. And you can see that Spirit had to go top to pick up all that vision, or rather the minions there. So he made himself known. The bottom side was totally safe. And Ghost and Totoro were just pushing it in as much as possible. In fact, it was only Ghost alone, so even more safe than he could have imagined.
Speaking of safe, both the jungler and mid laner from BBQ are playing it safe with their itemizations. You have a completed Runic Echoes already from Bless, who is sitting at 2-0, so he's nice and fed. But instead of going for the mobility boots, even though he found that first blood, he's opting out to go for a more guaranteed kind of build where you're not dealing with the inevitability of being useless with the mobilities, barring a team fight that will start to happen. And then you have Orianna, who is capable of laning against Corki evenly, but has gone with Mercury Tread, so not putting herself in the position to get ganked by Spirit. But wait a minute.
Look at this. Easy setup as Tushin just checking the brushes, and Totoro waiting for him, pings it over. And now Kramer in a little bit of trouble. The flash over the wall. Kramer's even going to burn his flash, but I think he's in a ton of trouble just waiting for that Alistair stun. And there it is, into the knockup. Should be enough. There's the heal, though, the flash forward from Ghost to make sure that he gets that. And there's another one going over to BBQ.
And they wipe the bottom lane and get all their combat summoners too. Now Tushin only has Flash, but this bottom lane is going to get the wave denied. The blue buff was the initial attempt, but Totoro had the jump on it. They had pressure into the bottom lane. They found a way to sneak in and get some kills. And sure, you don't get the blue buff, but you got so much out of it.
Yeah, what a fantastic start here for BBQ. And again, we were talking about that Elise. It's not only the Elise, but already 3-0 on the blue side so far is Bless, making his presence known. And again, Tushin, he just face checks here, not expecting Totoro to be there. And easy follow-up for Bless.
Bit of a late exhaust there. If he really wanted to save his life, he should have used the exhaust a bit earlier. But as soon as Kramer also decides to face check, then he's dead as well. There's not a whole lot of chance there. Ghost thinking that his ultimate does a lot of damage. That's not AP Tristana, although some of us wish that was still the meta.
Maybe someday.
You remember that DFG Trist mid?
Oh, that was so fun. You just burst people from 100 to 0, yeah, and there wasn't much they could do because you could gap close almost immediately.
And it's instant point and click, no counterplay.
Yeah. Well, a man can dream. Maybe someday. What's going on with the Afrika here in game number 1? I mean, you were joking about the consistency of Afrika in game number 2, but here already in game number 1, they're trying to make stuff work, but they're getting crushed so far. Easy escape from Crazy up in top lane.
Well, it's like you're giving away Elise, right? You have top lane, which is guaranteed to lose. Jace will pretty much win every single matchup, and then when you have a jungler that only relies on scaling and your lanes can't survive enough, then you're poised with a situation where everywhere BBQ has pressure are places that you can't gank because it's too obvious.
Temp's positioning a little bit interesting there, but they're going for this top tier 1, and the TP is going to come in. They're going to get Gragas, though, and look at that burst with the Jace and the Elise. You can't just stay there. The Shockwave is totally going to go wide. It looks like they want to engage here 1v2, or rather 2v3, excuse me. Trying to get on top of Temp. He's going to try to micro back. Should be 1 kill going over to Afrika. Can they pick up any more, though? Doesn't look like it as Kuro goes down, and now Marin's on the run. Meanwhile, a small fight down in bot lane. And ooh, it looks like maybe Marin's going to get down here as Bless. He does have his flash. Could try to go for this. Not going to make it happen. Just going to let him go.
Marin just confidently strolls out of there. Still has his flash. No need to burn it. Now he's got Spirit as backup. But that's what happens. You have these lanes that are not strong enough. If you want to go defend somewhere, you are going to be weaker. It's Elise that is 4-0. Early game is her kingdom, and she is making sure that all of Afrika knows, as she's now part of 5 out of these 6 kills. Her itemization this early on is perfect for just fighting in these skirmishes, and so she can jump onto Spirit, knows that Jace in his follow-up is going to be more impactful than Marin, who also had previously burned his Cataclysm under the tower.
Yeah, this is a fantastic start for BBQ, and I think maybe in game number 2, BBQ would be smart to go with the Elise ban, maybe allow Talia to head over. That's what Jin did in game number 2 up against SKT. If you do remember, they decided to go with the Elise span, and then SKT, they first picked Talia. Didn't really work out for them.
They're going to try to dive crazy, but this could also not work out for them.
Crazy's like, go ahead, I dare you. And it seems like maybe they smelled that one coming. They're going to start the Infernal Drake, regardless of if they knew Spirit's position or not. They take that out easily. No play from Afrika. That's going to be the first, or rather the second turret going down in the bottom lane as well to BBQ.
Well, the issue is that Marin had stayed on that gank, so he was still low enough, but he was so low that if he was next to the minion wave, it would have been a signal for Crazy to engage. So we're going to take another look at that fight topside where it happened a bit earlier. And Spirit gets greedy. You know that everybody's there, but the damage that Jace and Elise can provide this early on is not manageable. You need to wait so you can take these fights on. And now they're on the retreat because they're thinking, there's a brand new Kura that can take these fights on, but there is no Cataclysm. And BBQ just has to stall for their next rotation of spells. But still, they trade just a 2-for-1 in the favor of BBQ, and Marin can walk out. But the turret advantage still went over to BBQ, so that's what they came there for. They got it, and they got the teleport to Boast.
That was a pretty ridiculous fight there. The Corki not fed enough to do much damage at all. And now we got Crazy down here in the bot lane, a bit of a switcheroo as Ghost and Totoro head top.
And, you know, you're saying that the Corki doesn't do much damage, and yeah, he's gone with a defensive itemization of the Hex Drinker. Typically, you'd want to see the Trinity Force be completed a bit earlier, but the itemization for both these mid laners, I think, has played a key factor in determining the pace that we have seen so far. Orianna rushed Merc Tread, so not only does that allow her to dodge a lot of Corki's harass early on, you can walk out of your Gatling gun early, you can dodge the Frost Bomb, you dodge so much. Marin has Flash.
Okay, he's going to Cataclysm in here, waiting for that combo from Totoro first before using his own to get over the wall. There's a DP coming in, though. We'll see if they do commit to it. Doesn't look like it. And they're just going to stroll away from that one.
Yeah, he's tanky, and Triss doesn't have damage yet, so he's fine. And back on Orianna, with the Merc Treads, you dodge out of a lot of Corki's harass, so you keep yourself healthy in the lane, on top of him being mostly magic, so you're also mitigating any damage if it hits. And if Gragas is to gank you, then you have a lower chance of dying because you are with some tenacity. So it's a great build to nullify Afrika's early game strategies. We might just see it translate into a mid-game fight around Herald.
Yeah, look at this, trying to come in for the steal. Can he actually get it? No, Spirit's just going to back away and give this one over to BBQ. They're not confident to take the fight, even with the package up on Kuro. So just going to let this one go.
The formation of 5 from BBQ was already there. If they pulled the trigger on that one, Marin would not have been able to make it to the fight. So wisely do they back away. And it was good from BBQ to force everybody on that side of the map. They're not losing anything else. And they secured the objective that can crack down that mid-tier 1 that we want to see them use, because this siege can translate into a tier 2 if they pull it off correctly. If the Jace can rotate, a Fed Elise and a Tristana with a Rift Herald can take 2 towers in one use.
We'll see where they do want to use this, but BBQ totally in the driver's seat in this one, already about 4,000 gold ahead, and fantastic start, the best you could have hoped for out of this Elise, and getting those lanes fed.
You can just tell how Crazy is reading the way that Marin is playing to know that the gank is not going to work. He also recognized that most of his team has base, so there's no need for him to be playing aggressive. But the second that Marin steps up to the wave, you gotta smell that something is up. You know, he has not been playing the laning phase like this aggressively. So he's also aware that he's not in a position to get ganked. Both teams are well aware where their respective teammates are, so nothing happens into the bottom side. But it's interesting to see how just by the actions of one, you can infer the entire actions of a team.
Yeah, definitely is pretty cool. Smart play out of Crazy. He was looking a little bit tired when we got to see him in the booth before the game, but seems like he put his head on straight, has been playing that Jace that I'm sure he's happy the Jace is back into the meta, because he was definitely one of our more common Jace players from BBQ. Looking for another play potentially here onto Marin. Ghost is spotted though, but Marin's still going to stick around. Will try to do the same thing, wait for Totoro's combo, and then just flag and drag away. But here's Tushin. They might want to turn this. Looking for that winner's bite. Those concussive blows do finish off. That's just going to be a 2v2 that doesn't amount to any kills.
That is just not understanding how much damage they have together. Marin still has not burned his flash, can just get out of so many engages with his own abilities. Tristana is not strong enough right now. That's a Ninja Tabi's on Jarvan. His shield is really annoying to deal with. There's just too much tankiness on his side that Trist is better off just farming.
Look at where Bless uses that from. The Rift Arrow. It's over from the right side. And that's going to be the first turret in the mid lane going down. It doesn't look like they want to go for anything else, but Bless's positioning was showing me that perhaps they wanted to look for a pick as Afrika went to go defend that, but they took a very defensive route when going to the mid lane. So no more kills, just another turret. Oh, and a bunch of burst damage. This is the potential of Elise and Jace, as you're seeing, onto that very tanky Spirit.
Yeah, he has his drunken rage to survive, but another reason why BBQ did not want to go for an extended push is that they needed a recall, start getting some item ins, because this dragon matters a lot to them. Securing this Infernal means that you're getting that good stack going on to yourself. The Jace, the Ori, pretty much all 4 of your members except the Alistar will have a big impact from this dragon. And Afrika is trying to respond with diving the top side, but they can give this to her up. They can wave clear it from the Shock Blast from afar, and instead, it actually will go down. So they do walk away with an objective for Afrika. They trade something for the dragon, which shows signs of being proactive. They're looking for something to do, not just rolling over and giving up objectives, but BBQ's got pings going on.
Yeah.
TB might come out.
Doesn't look like they'll go for it, as in fact just the threat of BBQ coming up is going to force Afrika back, and they do not get that top turret. So you're talking about going for an objective. They tried, they got it very low, but that gold will not come through for them just yet.
And before that TP play went out, we actually saw pings into the bottom side, pinging that tier 1. And I like looking at pings because I see it as trying to lip read what a team is trying to tell you. They communicate with pings. Some teams communicate a lot more with pings, some others, some a lot less. There's often always a big amount of information that is within the pings, and if a team happens to communicate a specific play with a lot of pings, you're almost certainly guaranteed to be able to look at it intelligently, to analyze the reasons why these pings might be coming out and figure out, oh, this is what they were thinking. This is the information that they had in mind and what they were playing for and what they were trying to do. And here we can assume that pings went on to the bottom side, Crazy saying, I want to catch this farm, I don't want to TP to the top side, try to make something that might not get us everything. Baron wasn't even up at the time. Let me just get this farm bottom, let's get some pressure out. I'm crushing it in my lane, I've got red buff, let's not do this play, the risk might be too high.
That's definitely always very cool to see that. And I was thinking, while you're talking, who's really going to be the savior here for Afrika? When you're this far behind, about 5,000 gold already at 20 minutes into the game, who's going to do it? Because let's just get out of this one. Like, the Xayah is 0-2-0. The Corki 0-1. He has 1 assist from the 1 kill that Afrika picked up, but he's not really all that bad either. He's just picked up his Trinity Force at 20 minutes with the Hex Drinker. So who's going to do it? There's not too much damage coming out of Marin and the Gragas. They're really just going to look for the big play. I think it's kind of that situation that we were talking about SKT in the previous series, where it's like they're behind, but there is potential. If BBQ gets out of position, a couple of their members, we could see kind of a mini wombo combo out of Jarvan, out of Gragas, out of this Braum to try to set something up. And that really does look like the only play that I see right now for Afrika.
Well, the saviors are Kuro and Marin. They're the ones that actually were able to shut down Jax's, to shut down Cassidy, to shut down many picks with the synergy between mid and the jungle. Right now, they're going to try to go onto Ghost, but he's just not going to cut it. You need the Jarvan and you need the Corki. Utilizing package are the big plays that they can have. Utilizing teleport, unfortunately, that dictates that they need to have immaculate control of mid and top side if they're not to lose Baron or a mid-tier 2. So it has to be punishing Crazy. He's the one that is most susceptible to getting ganked. However, getting his flash might be the first step in starting a chain of possibilities for Afreeca to keep looking towards that top side of the map. Going into the duo lane is most likely going to result into a deficit for them. Fighting with Gragas into the Alistar might be really difficult for you, especially when you go into use of cast. A bad cast can be Totoro just wiping the floor with Afreeca.
Crazy, you can see the trades that are going on here. Actually, Tempt was looking for a rotation down into bot, as they weren't really scared of Baron being taken away, but Crazy would love the blue buff. He's really low on his mana right now. He's trying to regen it in that hammer form, but if he could have that and consistently pressure Marin with those shock blasts, that would make that bottom lane even harder for Marin than it already is. You can see the Blade of the Rune King picked up early for the Jace. He really wants to be trading with this Jarvan in the lane.
Yeah, he's all about the 1v1. Every time somebody goes for the Blade, it's all about just taking that one-on-one fight, guaranteeing you to have chase potential, to have sustain in the lane, whereas Marin is just trying to farm up, get to a position where he can team fight and eliminate somebody with the Titanic Hydra instead. So both these players have different goals, and it's up to BBQ to accelerate the pace of the game. They don't have to worry too much. They have a solid late game, but if it comes to the late game, you are opening yourself up to Afreeca going with a crazy team fight that can result in a fight that wins and wins you the game, because late game, one fight is all it takes.
We can see the result of that rotation from Kuro. BBQ coming together as 4, removing a lot of this vision. They haven't gotten really deep vision into the red side, just now clearing out the vision around Baron. That's about it. Waiting here, trying to bait in some members, but Afreeca very smartly not even entering this side of the jungle really just yet.
Afreeca can check brushes effectively with Beryl, with Kuro, with Braum. So they're not going to be too hindered by the lack of vision on their side. They can confidently walk forward and know that they can stop any engages that come onto them, so they can easily reclaim it. And with Elise showing, it's even more obvious that they're safe to just go back to the lanes and continue to farm it. That's what they're looking for, and that's what they're getting.
Yeah, good delay so far. A lot of pings going down from Afreeca towards the Cloud Drake. Generally not a Drake that we see as extremely important when we go into, 25 minutes into this game, but perhaps they want to deny another elemental Drake on the side of BBQ, which would make it 3. Perhaps they're saying, hey, maybe BBQ's going to go there. This will be our chance to clear out vision around Baron at least. And it looks like for now it's just going to be Tempt coming down here, although Bless and Totoro are going to join in and help a little bit.
Getting the Scuttle Crab earlier was simply a means to identify when BBQ was going to move forward, so they can start getting some more time onto these turrets to safely go for trades. So it's nice to see that Afreeca does not respond to the Cloud Dragon. Instead, they're looking to get their own advantages on the map. They got a little bit of gold, and now we might see them go for a flank onto the mid lane. Even though Corki's not in position, this could be a double teleport play. Pings are going out.
Yes, they are. Oh, look at that burst damage. Kramer, a couple of spells from Tempt, from Crazy, and he's got to go home. So, Tempt and Bless, they were looking for a play, trying to pressure that mid-tier 2 in the trade, but don't really get all too much damage down onto that one. More so just damage onto Kramer on that Xayah, but he's back. It's all good. Afreeca doing a decent job so far of delaying this. And all of a sudden, the TP coming behind. They want Crazy. He's all alone here against 3. Got the others following up, too. He will flash the wall, but there's the Winter's Bite. Is going to land. Can they get that concussive blows? Yes, they can, and that's going to be easy peasy cleanup. But they do use the TP for that, but they pick up the kill.
Tucson makes his way to the bottom side and finds a way to kill Crazy, and that's exactly what Afreeca is looking for, to kill Jace as much as possible. He is so important to this BBQ composition at this moment. He's applying pressure on Marin that's stopping him from teleporting onto the team, and the fact that they kill him and get his flash means that now Kuro can revisit the lane with package, use his own teleport, but now BBQ has started to catch on to the idea they need to get vision in the red side, get everybody onto the map, because if BBQ is going to have Jace again into the bottom side, they need to be ready to respond with a Baron play.
Look at Ghost here. He's thinking about a play onto Kuro. Gonna land that down. The static shift coming forward. Look at that burst. He does get the Hex deck, the Hex Drinker rather, to proc. And here's the speed up from the Orianna. Should get that last shot. And a nice job cleaning up Kuro.
Good surprise there on Tristana jumping Kuro. Did not see it coming. Typically, you would imagine that this matchup could sway the other way, where Corki just pops him immediately, but he waited patiently for the spell rotations, the auto attacks, and with the red buff gets the surprise Kuro. And if that wasn't enough, you've also got heal, and you've got temp to back you up with a shield had it been necessary. This could be the engage that we're looking for, but there's only 20 seconds on Kuro. So BBQ instead get the turret for free, and now they're poised to look at an inhibitor turret, or at least a tier 2 that Tristana is hammering away.
Yeah, Tristana will get bottom. You see nice wave clear in the mid lane, and especially with the red buff and just the siege potential of this Tristana, will easily get this turret. Nobody even going to make their way down, but at least Afrika able to clear up the mid lane and deal with that.
And I gotta say, this is so good from BBQ. I'm so impressed by their macro play. They're not overextending when they're weak. Here comes the TP from Kuro, so actually Ghost might be getting caught out here.
Yeah, they're going to flash Cataclysm, and, well, Ghost, you tried. He is going to heal, but the package does come out, and Kuro picks him up.
Of course, as soon as I go for the compliment, they back off, but I'll still go through with it. I think that BBQ has been playing the macro quite well, pushing when they can push and not overextending crazily, barring that moment.
Not sure about this play, though, from BBQ. They try to charge on in. Featherstorm will dodge the shockwave. Good response time out of Kramer to make sure he survives.
Yeah, that spell always looks like it comes in a little bit too late. You're like, hey, shouldn't that have hit? But no, it just looks like that.
Kuro back down by himself in the bottom lane. Immediately, Crazy back on the map, but he is going to be late. And you can see the position of Baron, too, is going to deter Crazy from going straight that way. He's sticking around down here, Marin, in fact, because, I mean, they have vision around Baron. They know that BBQ isn't starting it. They know that they picked up Ghost. So they're looking for those plays that you were talking about. They're being persistent here on the map. They're looking for objectives, for people. And Crazy will return down into bot.
He does not suspect a thing.
Okay, here we go. The Cataclysm will come down, and again, Crazy, he does not have his flash just yet. Bit of burst damage coming out here from Kuro, but not quite enough, as they do not pick up the Jace.
Great sidestep there from Crazy. The initial auto actually went onto the tower from Kuro, not onto Crazy, but he's got Tabis, he's got his Hammer form, and he's got Black Cleaver, so he is decently tanky, although I felt like Afrika got a little bit too desperate on that play. Perhaps they could have waited for Crazy to use it to the skies there to hammer out the backline of the minion. Instead, they go in under the tower, and they go in because the pressure is quite high on that play. Do you go for it immediately, or do you wait for BBQ to read that your play is happening and then make something happen on the other top side of the map? Because they're sitting there with no teleports.
Look at this play. Okay, a little bit of a party bush from BBQ. They pick up the jungler of Spirit. Now what are they going to go for? They got a third Infernal Drake about to spawn, but there's also that Baron, but also they could go for mid lane, and they will rotate over here.
Shockwave is a big cooldown, as well as Flash on Alistar, so they need to be quite careful which new fight they take.
Especially Gargoyle Stoneplate finished up on Marin on this Jarvan. He's going to be a massive help in these team fights once he jumps in. You can see he was looking for it. He's not defending the bottom lane just yet. And BBQ, they don't go for Baron, but should be an easy third Infernal Drake, and that is really scary.
They continue to control the objectives well, and they have been good to them as well. They've been pampered by these. You could not ask for a better combination at this stage in the game when you're running a poke composition, triple fire, as well as a mountain to dodge out of the potential engage is just beautiful.
Yeah, definitely the Cloud Drake will help out, and Crazy, I was talking about that blue buff. Take it, buddy. You can see that Marin, though, is coming here, and look at Kuro. He's getting very close, but Marin is very low, but he still has that stone plate. Gonna jump on Crazy, but Crazy, he will fight back. There's the stone plate coming through, but it's not enough. Will trade 1 for 1, at the end of it all, and in fact, Kuro will pick up his blue buff.
But every trade that goes for Afreeca of at least a 1-for-1 is in their interest. So this is good for them to keep stalling out. You're getting items onto Corki that can make a big difference in these fights. There's not a whole lot of magic resistance stacked up just yet, and we're going to look at the fight again. It's just baiting. They're just waiting for Corki to make it over here. He knows what's going on, so he utilizes his Aegis right on time and then tries to combo in onto Crazy. And even though he does get knocked back, he somehow turns into Kayn, walks through the wall of his own Cataclysm, and enters his own demise. So how poetic-ish. It looks like Kayn, like a new Kayn in solo queue, just walks the wall into his own death.
Look at that ward. That's going to give Afreeca all the information they need. They know that this Baron has started, but look at how fast it goes down. Triple fire. It's going to be up to Spirit for the steal here. He's not going to get it. Bless will pick it up. In fact, Spirit didn't even go over. And Kramer will be able to get out of here. Crazy blows his teleport. And that's going to be the Baron cleanly going over to BBQ.
It was Totoro who was the hero there. They see Spirit, so he just goes over the wall, secures the Baron by not allowing Spirit to make it onto the pit. So well coordinated from BBQ. Never had a chance of going for a Baron steal. And when you're in that situation, when you're the Gragas, it takes a lot of practice for you to recognize how you should be playing into these situations. And to be honest, over the years, I think that the actual way of handling those moments is that, first of all, you need vision denial on your own side. So you need to at least be in the brush, and you always have to commit with flashing. There's no other way. You can flash out of the headbutt, so you have to flash inside, get yourself over the pit, as opposed to lingering over in places where he can spot you and headbutt you away.
Well, definitely the idea there, but Spirit did not want to commit that hard. The rest of his team would have had trouble getting in, and seems, as you were talking about, Totoro's play was quite good. Didn't quite catch that myself. Would love to see the replay, but here we go. With that Baron, Ghost's going to be up top by his lonesome. They're sending Crazy down into bot, who seems actually pretty scared of a gank, and smartly so, as Kuro and Marin were heading down there.
He should only be scared of a gank when his team is not in position to capitalize. So he continues to push here, even though he hasn't actually seen Jarvan or Corki be on the map. Actually, they did see them on the middle ward, but if they were to be MIA, it's still okay with him because the team needs to be ready to capitalize. His death can buy enough time for the team to get an inhibitor, and now they've made their way from the bottom side jungle to the top, looking for a fight.
Yeah, no TP this time from Crazy. Good play from Totoro to knock Marin away, but will they commit? Gonna get on top of Bless here. Still has his repel. We'll see when he goes for it. Will buy some time, but he is gonna flash, in fact. There's no knockup. Nice cast, though. Is gonna bring him back into the team, and they finally find a kill. But we got Crazy down in bottom lane, pushing this one in.
He's got Baron minions to try to take down this turret, and he does so much damage to it. It's definitely dead.
Okay, that's a Jace for you guys. The TP's coming in from miles away, so they really want to collapse onto Crazy. This is going to be Kuro coming from behind. Marin on the chase. And he's going to try to 1v1 for now. Kuro taking an immense amount of damage, but is going to Valkyrie in. Once that kill, there's the flash, and the Guardian Angel will pop. With Spirit coming on over here, should be easy to pick this kill up. Nice knockaway, though. Gonna buy as much time as possible, but Kramer does come over and pick up the kill.
And the kill goes over to Talia, which is great, but the rest of BBQ are not in position to capitalize anything from how much time Crazy was able to buy. So in the end, it turns out that he was overextended, did not foresee the teleport from Kuro. And by the way, that control ward has been there for about 20 minutes. So
yeah,
they have been thinking about this play for a long time, and they're finally able to execute it.
Yeah, you can see you were talking about the control ward. There's one in bottom lane, but there's also one in top lane. So Afreeca, they've been known to have some pretty sick teleports in the past. Marin, really fantastic about getting those positions, but it's a team effort to get those kinds of wards down. And hold that thought, Marin, okay, never mind. Was thinking about an engage, but Tushin's pretty low. They're pretty close to the turret.
Hey, you're right. Those are some actually really cool wards to put in. So many times do teams do their due diligence in clearing out vision, and it typically revolves around the blue or red side jungle, but never that far back. And it might just be that these wards that are so far back are the answer to getting these engages into the potential siege that BBQ want to go for. However, those 2 wards there means that you're dealing with vision denial on 3 control wards in the red side jungle, whereas typically you find yourself putting forward even 5 to secure an area well. So that weakens the vision from Afreeca, but it does strengthen their opportunities when it comes to a team fight.
So BBQ, they weren't able to get any inhibitors from their Baron, but we do have the Elder Drake spawning, and they have 4 Elemental Drakes. With 3 Infernals and an Elder Drake push, I don't think Afreeca from this far behind can stand up to that unless they get the perfect engage.
Oh, no, they cannot, and that's why they're trying to move in to stop this, but it goes down so fast.
And they get a good engage onto Tushin, too, who's forced back. Nice knock up here to save his life. The TP's coming in, will be forced to cancel from Marin. That's going to be an Elder Drake for 2.5 minutes. And 4 Elemental Drakes on the side of BBQ.
Yeah, there is legitimately too much damage on the side of BBQ. Afreeca have to run away from them. The chances of them winning a 5v5 with legitimately 4 carries on this stage, now that that's a 5-1 Elise, are just not there. They need to give up pretty much whatever BBQ wants to shoot their way, and unfortunately with an open inhibitor bot side, it could be 2 inhibitors.
Gonna split up the team for just a moment, but seems like they want to rotate down into bottom side and go for that open inhibitor you were talking about. Bunch of TP wards behind them, but no TP. Ooh, the Shockwave is gonna miss, but Bless taking a ton of damage, does get that repel off. Kuro, though, trading back, and a huge knock-up that we kind of only see at the top of the screen, as 3 members do get knocked up, but that's gonna be enough to push them back, and that's really what BBQ want. Pick up the inhibitor, and now they're gonna rotate mid.
They thought about a pick, and the Shockwave comes out, and they're thinking, okay, maybe this is our chance, but it's just not there. The damage from this 6 Elder stack when it gets doubled from the Dragon is just too much.
Yeah, it's pretty gross at this point. And you can see that Afreeca, unless they get that perfect engage, unless they find ghosts like this, they're not going to get a kill. They get the flash out, which is pretty nice, especially with Baron coming up in 40 seconds.
Spirit wishes he had Cask available for that moment.
Yeah, definitely does. Would have been potentially a kill, especially with the Baron coming up at this timing. Could have opened up the game for Afreeca.
They need a lot to open this one.
It's like a closed safe.
It's like you have a spaghetti, a seafood linguine, and then they give you a mussel that's just sealed. You got no spoons to open that. You don't want to get your hands dirty, but it's just so tightly sealed. It practically is still alive. And then that's how sealed this one is right now for Afreeca. It's open, it's consumable if they can find a way to pry it from the hands of BBQ. Unfortunately, they have been playing well. They've got a great composition, and with 2 inhibitors down, all it takes is patience for them to get this next Baron.
The only thing I want to see more out of BBQ is 1 landed Shockwave. Can you give it to me, Tempt? That's all I want to see. Because every single one has missed.
But they're strong enough where it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it's almost like a zoning ultimate. It's like, oh, let's see how many flashes I can get from this Shockwave this time around. Okay, they're going to start the Baron here. You can see just how fast this goes down. Pretty ridiculous. It's going to be up to Totoro to get on top of Spirit. Is going to use this ult. There's the knock-up, and no chance, Spirit. You're not getting close. Totoro still with this flash available, and look at the Shockwave finally does come through. Tempt giving me what I asked him for. Marin, though, he's going deep with that stone plate, trying to tank it up, but no can do as they're going up against a team that is just super far ahead. Now they're all on the run. Let's see how many more kills BBQ can pick up. Afreeca moving up towards the top, and Kramer flashing forward is going to burn his GA, and Bless trying to jump on in. Kuro, though, does get away. Look at how little health. Never mind. Tristana able to pick up that kill, and now Spirit the only one going to get away alive. And there's the TP into the main base. Should be game 1 going over to BBQ.
Fighting on multiple fronts. Everybody just wants to pick their own fight. Unfortunately, all of them have the same winner, BBQ, right at the end, and then you've got Crazy, the lone destructor of the Nexus here, with an army of minions, and in under 42 minutes, BBQ take out the best team in the world, Afreeca game 1.
How did they do it? Where's this BBQ team coming from? They're definitely going to be avoiding relegations at this rate, as if they can seal this one against Afrika, that's not only going to really hurt Afrika, but it definitely makes sure that they are not going to be in the bottom two.
And this just confirms the roller coaster that is the LCK right now. At the start of the season, it was similar when everybody was beating everybody, and now we're back at it again. The break from Rift Rivals has seemingly shaken up everything, and the only team that maintains composure after all of this is Longzhu. Everything else has gone crazy. We don't really know what's happening. BBQ is finally seeing some composure. Jin Air with amazing macro play. SKT dropping the ball, and the Afrika Freaks game 1 falling apart.
Definitely falling apart right from the get-go. The Elise from Bless. Again, blue side Elise. And a weird route, you know, just not even going home. Cleared out almost his entire jungle. Went straight down into bottom lane. There were no wards. Kramer face checks the brush. And right from there, right from the get-go, he was able to get that kill into a very early Runix. He got a second kill up towards top. We had that Elise fed from the beginning and totally shut down the early game. Put BBQ so far ahead.
They legitimately outplayed them. This is where it started, that first gank, but remember that after this one, it was also Totoro and Bless in the jungle that were able to kill Tucson. So they found advantages, and here where it comes again. Level 5. This early on, solo out the support, and then they go bottom side again and kill the AD carry, who just so happened to be in the middle of a tussle with Tristana, and the Alistar angrily flashes over the wall and just threw it to the ground.
That ult's pretty funny. Good reaction there from Ghost, though, to make sure he gets the kill, even after the mistake. And this was just the perfect setup for Tristana. Eventually gets it.
No crits on Kuro, actually. Had he been able to turn some crits, maybe he would have thought about turning that gank. Unfortunately, he was just too weak. And this is the only attempt that Afrika could have legitimately gone for, to continuously punish Crazy. But he does a great job of sidestepping a lot of these spells from the Corki. But in the end, so much of it revolved around BBQ just getting the fights that they wanted. The Alistar and the Elise were on point this time around, and it just so happened that the supporting squad that had so much damage got the best dragons possible. They got the greatest setup and were able to just pump out endless DPS.
Totoro on that Alistar. Pretty nice pick to bring in with the Tristana.
This fight is just the most curious because BBQ knows that if they face check, they can still die. There's a lot of AoE CC from everybody, but Triss jumps over the wall, and as soon as that happens, like, go in, go over walls. Who's going everywhere? And they all just find a way to kind of die to each other.
Or Afrika to die to BBQ. Oh, that's slow motion. So cool. Result coming in here. BBQ is the victor in game number 1 in 41 minutes and 41 seconds.
They played the macro well. They utilized Elise. They went with Braum. They got enough objective advantage with the turrets, with the Barons. It was overall a really clean game from this team, and that's exciting because we want to see teams at the bottom kind of take the knowledge that they have from the guys at the top, apply it to their own approach to the game, and this is the result we get.
Yeah, it's always a fun league when the bottom teams can actually go up against the top teams. I know in spring it was not like that most of the time, was generally very one-sided. But either way, guys, looks like we got a sub for Afrika as we jump into a break before game number 2.